Hello, hello. Welcome back to Linda Vista Live. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Franny Esparza, your host, and my co-host, as always, Jose Quiñones.
Buenos días.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. Our guest, wonderful, wonderful guest. Thank you so much for joining me again. We've had encounters before. Paul Cullen. Welcome, sir.
Mr.
Thank you.
Paul.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. We are honored to have you here. Mr. Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself and to
A little
others.
bit or a lot of bit?
A lot of it.
A
Okay.
lot
There's
of
not
it.
a little bit.
That's
There's a
right.
lot of
The
it.
whole shebang.
Well, it all started out in 1980 when I picked up bass guitar.
Yes.
And then,
It goes back a ways.
And then 10 years later, I was in bad company. Wow, who knew? So fast forward to now, or at least in the last 7 years, I've spawned a few businesses, all starting with my in-home dining, which basically happened by accident or because I love cooking for people. I'd have people over in my home for dinner. And one specific night, somebody said, "Hey, can you do this for a surprise birthday party for my wife?" And I said, "Yeah, how many people?" He said, "Like 10 people. And can you cook?" And I got wine and blah, blah, blah. I said, "Oh, yeah, can you bring your guitar?" I'm like, "Oh, I like that idea. So I'm going to cook for you, and then I'm going to play guitar afterwards." So that started in 2015, and I did, just from word of mouth, I did 14 events in 2015. And then last year we did over 200.
Wow.
It's been insane. And that built up real quick. I mean, we did 193 before the pandemic, and we ended up doing 173 during the pandemic.
Wow.
I was actually even busy once the first 3 months of the pandemic were kind of over. So yeah, I come to your house, I cook for you. Italian, because my mom was full-blooded Italian. So pasta, gnocchi, risotto. I made risotto for my group last night, and they loved it. And then I pair with wines, and some of those are from Paul Cullen wines from Italy.
Nice.
Yep. And then I play a concert afterwards. And that's just been amazing. I think we added up, we're close to like 13,000 people I've cooked for since 2015. And I've been to Costa Rica, California, Asheville, Nashville, the Ville tour, Austin, Chicago 5 times, Florida, Charleston. So I've been all over the country doing it also.
Wow, just traveling and
Yep.
cooking.
I just had somebody book me in April of next year in Tampa for a group of 25. So what happens when I do that, I'll actually tell all my Florida peeps, where I lived for 16 years, that I'm going to be down there, and I'll probably end up doing like 8 or 10 events while I'm down there for a couple weeks.
For the
Yeah.
run.
So that's been amazing. I didn't know, I had no idea. In 2014, I would have never known that I would have cooked for so many people, and all over the country.
During this time,
Yeah,
and it all
exactly.
came from, and that's one of our starter questions is, how did this come about? But you've always been an entrepreneur, but this kind of just out of nowhere just sprouted from just a conversation that you were having with friends.
Exactly. It's just because I love cooking for people that I always invite chefs and friends over together. In Italy, you all sit at one table. It's called conviviality. It means, so if you're sitting next to somebody you don't know, by the end of the night, you're going to know them really
You're
well.
gonna know 'em, yeah.
So I'd invite
After a few wines.
yeah, exactly. Especially after 3 or 4 glasses of wine. But I love connecting people, and have my friend, great friend, Hari Cameron, chef, award-winning chef, had a muse, and has Grandpa Max with his brother. So he came over one night, and there was other people that loved him, and I knew that. So it was super cool. So I cooked for the chefs, and I love that because I know as a chef that I love being cooked for.
That's right.
People are like, I don't know if I'm going to cook for you. I'm so nervous. I think you can make hot dogs. I don't care. And I actually had one group that did. But yeah, so it started from passion of what I love to do and what I grew up doing, and living that lifestyle the Italian way on my mom's side.
Hey, Paul, wine about some cheese. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel that we're working on, and we have a couple different segments. One is we're doing cocktails, and I just did one with Rob Bagley, the mixologist of this area. Worked at a Muse and then Harbor, and now he's getting ready to open up Drift, which is right down from the Pines.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, so we did a cocktail using my wine. So we did a New York sour with my wine, and my wine, the grape varietal is called Barbera. So we called it Barbera Streisand New York Sour. So so we have fun with that too. So it's cocktails, wine and cheese education, recipes. I just put carbonara up there, which is one of my favorite Italian dishes to make. And then we were adding music to that too. So we're going to try to cover all the gamuts with that. Yeah.
So what's the channel's name?
Paul Cullen. What's the name of the brand? Paul Cullen. Actually, my company name is Tune Your Palate, which I love. And but nobody knows what the heck that is. So, it's the Paul Cullen brand. And under that is my wine company, Paul Cullen Wines. And then there's Paul's Rockin' Provisions, which is my vinegar, olive oil from Italy, and spices that I make here. I have my dime bag garlic salt, and that's been a big hit.
Is it a dime bag?
It looks just like one. It's like one. So I have Paul's Rockin' Provisions, and then we have the Paul's Kitchen on Cedar Grove, where we do brunch on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's a market also.
Wow.
And we're going to start opening up for lunch on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 11 to 2, right up the road from you guys, right here on Cedar Grove. And that has a room called the Room at Cedar Grove, where we do concerts at nighttime.
Wow.
And we have amazing acts coming in, national acts, worldwide acts from all over the country, including one of my favorites is Tony Levin, the bass player from Peter Gabriel. He's coming back for a second time on June 22nd.
And I just want to put it out there real quick. So if I want to make reservations, how can I make that happen?
So this is super easy. Paul Cullen, the brand, .rocks, ROCKS.
One more
Not
time.
.com, not .net, but .rocks, ROCKS. I went online to buy a URL for my kitchen, and in that site, they gave me the opportunity of doing .rocks. I'm like, oh my God. So I just rebranded Paul Cullen to Paul Cullen .rocks. Yeah.
Wow. Paul Cullen.
It has everything in it. Well, of course, one of my
Everything.
other company is Culinary Travels, and it's CULLENARY, Culinary, my last name. And we take people to Italy. In fact, I'm leaving in 3 days and 6 hours. I'll be on a plane in Newark going to Milan. And
How many of you?
We'll have 31 on the first part of the trip, and then 30 on the second part, so 60 total. Wow. And we're doing a tall sailing ship from Cannes, France to Rome, and then Rome to Sicily. So it's 2 different trips. I'm going to actually be in Monte Carlo for the Grand Prix, which I'm super excited about because I'm a race fan. So that's one of my other things I do. And then I think the newest one and one of the most important ones is Paul Cares. So it's my nonprofit for the culinary and musical arts. So what we're trying to do is take young adults, kids and young adults, and give them a chance to follow their passions by either getting them an instrument that they can't afford, or education, like having somebody that loves to cook, have them come into our kitchen and we'll teach them how to do it on a professional level. That's just like the beginning of it. So to me, it's just me paying it forward. I've been really lucky my whole life to pretty much to do everything that I love to do and follow my passion. So I'm just trying to help young adults do the same thing.
And you're making it happen.
We're trying to, yeah. And we're going to be doing educational classes. Like I'm going to do, music business 101, what not to do, and what to do also. And because I learned the hard way of what to do and what not to do. And so those sort of things, cooking classes. I just did a pasta class for some young adults, and we made fresh pasta and had dinner together.
Very cool.
And so we're working on stuff like that. My ultimate goal for that is to do a all kid run show at my place. So kids on stage, kids in the front of the house, and kids in the kitchen.
That is so
all
awesome.
preparing the foods and then playing the music. And in fact, our sort of kickoff for Paul Cares is Sunday, June 19th, which is Father's Day, at the Milton Theater, and 6:30 to 9. And we're going to feature young adults within the food part of it, and then also on stage. Yeah, I'm bringing in some special guests from New York also.
Very cool. Is there
So
anything
June
else?
the 19th.
Yes.
June the 19th.
June 19th, 6:30 to 9.
Juneteenth, actually, is that date. Yeah, so it's at the Milton Theater, which I love the Milton Theater. It's that historic, from the 1920s. I just drove by. They had the doors open. They were actually putting the balcony back up where it was originally. Yeah.
That's awesome.
They're going to be able to hold, I think, close to 300 people when it's all said and done.
They have been very, very successful.
They're
Milton
awesome.
Theater. They
Fred and
have
JP,
been.
I've done a phenomenal job with that place, especially through COVID. Oh my God. They were rocking and rolling, and all of a sudden, man, it went boom,
Yeah.
just like everybody else did. And they hung in there, and they've got a beautiful place, and
Yeah.
they don't stop. And I love them. They're inspirational for me
Yes,
because
yes,
I see them going. I'm like, well, I got to keep up with them, and make sure I keep going too. And I love the progress that they've made and their vision, you know. And I'm actually on the advisory board also, which is really cool.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
So,
So then you also play events at their new place in Salisbury.
yeah, I did.
Okay.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Revival. That's
Yes,
what it was.
Revival.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we went down there on a Wednesday night and had a lot of fun. So
Very
I
cool.
support whatever Fred and JP do.
Yes.
They're amazing people, and they support me too. I mean, they're hooking us up to do our gala basically at their place.
Awesome.
And they've
So,
taken very good care of us.
Paul,
Yeah.
question for you. When do you sleep, man?
Yeah, I know. That's answered often. I sleep probably between 11 and 3 to 4, and then I'm up going, oh my God, what do I got to do today?
Yes.
So I wear a lot of hats. You know, I'm the IT guy, so I take care of my own website until I find somebody to do that, and I answer all the emails. So we have emails coming from all over. You know, in-home dining is the main one. So you know, there's always conversation going back and forth with the client.
Yeah.
You know. And so those are a lot there that I take care of early in the morning. And the only problem when you email somebody, they usually email you back. So then I have more emails coming in. So,
Kind of doubles up.
so we're working on some software actually that a friend of mine, Dana, turned me on to for in-home dining, where things will go into the software and then we can all see whoever's working and all that. Yeah, so a little less work for me as far as emails go. So yeah, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of the promo and marketing. I do have help. Chantel 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐿 is one of my my right-hand persons. She does my marketing for Paul's Kitchen and brunch and stuff. And her kids are the ones I play with all the time, the 𝐓𝐡𝐞𝐫𝐿 brothers.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And then my assistant Nina, she's my right-hand person for everything else, including my in-home dining. So she's there right now preparing for the 20 people we're cooking for tonight. You know,
Very cool.
getting together like the dishes, the glassware, and all that stuff that we have to do. So I have a lot of really, really good people that help me out on it. But to answer your question, I don't sleep a lot.
And thank you for taking the time today. Bro.
Yeah,
Yes,
no
absolutely.
worries.
We
No, this is
appreciate
super
it.
cool. I love it. I love doing stuff like this. Yeah.
Do it.
Definitely. Well, as you have mentioned, you have so much on your plate. So I guess this leads to our next inquiry is what kind of resources do you have? I know you mentioned your right-hand people that, kind of help you with everything. What else during your journey do you feel has been like very much so a resource and a support system?
You know, I think really, I mean, it's the people that I have around me, starting with Jim Rivette, that I met from the SCORE organization.
Yeah.
He's a huge resource for me as far as business side of it, and then the people that work. I have 2 chefs in the kitchen. They're really important. Brian and Brian happens to be.
That's too funny.
Brian and Brian 2.0. And so I surround myself with people as far as that goes. And of course, the internet is a great resource. YouTube is, for me, learning new recipes, learning about new wines, checking people out as far as do we want them to play our place, So I think, the internet's been a huge resource for me as far as the learning part of it. And what I like about where I am in life is that I'm 62 and I'm still learning every day about something. I'm already looking up a recipe for something that's happening, in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? I want to learn about that. And I have great friends that are in the wine business that they turn me on to cool Italian wines, because there's like 800 varietals of Italian wines, just grapes. I know about 100 of them, which is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next 700, of course, because that means I have to drink them. But, so one of the resources, this is a good one, is I wanted to learn about wine, and I wanted to to take it to another level. So I became a sommelier. So I'm a level 2 sommelier. That means I went twice. I got level 1 and level 2. Wow. So basically it is you go, it's school, except you're allowed to drink wine at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is really nice, so.
And that's part of business, isn't it? Like if you're going to get into something, you have to become as educated and as knowledgeable, whether it's just knowledge or experience, to be able to provide other people with that experience.
For sure. And then it makes me, I tell people I know enough to be dangerous about everything I do, food, wine, and music, but it's usually more than most people, so it makes me actually sound like I know what I'm talking about, which I guess I really do. But it's just, to me, sometimes I'm talking to the dinner people, say we have 12 people, and I go out there and I say, hey, this is, grilled Caesar salad that I had at this vineyard where my wine comes from, and I brought it back to you, and this is the name of the wine, which is Arnace, which in Italian means little rascal, so you got to give it a hug and play guitar for it. So there's all these backstories that come along with what I do for you. And that, I think that, I know that people are impressed by that. And, one of my favorite quotes is, everything tastes better with a backstory. Because if you know about it, and I can tell you what it's like to be on the vineyard. Of course, being there is even cooler, which I've been several times. So I think the backstories, and then of course I have the ultimate backstory music-wise is, playing with Bad Company in the early 90s. So, of course, who knew 30 years after I played with Bad Company that it would be important that I played in Bad Company?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because for so long it didn't matter, But I think because I have the chef thing going on, the sommelier, I have a kitchen, I have this. This is like a little caveat, and people are like, "Dude, has all this going on, and he played in Bad Company. This is pretty cool." So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have him to the house, you know. And then, you know, within my concert at night, I play, you know, some Bad Company songs for him too. You know?
Very cool.
What do you think is the most common reason people give up?
Oh wow, because things don't go well for you at the beginning.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Money is a huge one. Yeah. All these entrepreneurial things that I'm doing, you know, aren't creating revenue yet, but I have one stream that is. So I'm lucky, you know, with a little bit of finagling and moving stuff around, I'm able to start the other businesses, you know. Now I'm waiting for those other businesses to make money, you know, so then I don't have to take it from the top. So I think money is a big issue, and you know, I guess it's your attitude too, you know. I mean, I've been knocked down several times, believe me. When you play on a level like Bad Company and then you're not there anymore for whatever reasons, that's the ultimate knockdown. And I know why people don't make it through that. I have friends that have ended their life or career, or both, because they couldn't handle not being on that level. Because it's extremely cool. Like, I can't even tell you how cool it is to be on that level. Not only money, for one thing, notoriety, respect, I think is one of the best. And, you know, so it's tough, you know. So, you know, I hit rock bottom and somehow I found my way back up and I am where I am now, you know.
You know, one of the things you said before we got started that we're gonna go ahead and frame that. You know, you said entrepreneurship doesn't mean you have money. It just means you have so many cool ideas.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I'm the idea guy, you know. And my guy Jim is he's the money guy. Like I said, he goes, "So you want to do this, huh?" I'm like, "Yep." So he'll put a pro forma together, and we're like, "So you want to lose $70,000 this year?" I said, "Absolutely not."
Never mind.
So that's when we were looking for a place.
Yeah.
You know, it was inevitable because I was prepping for my in-home dining out of my house.
Yeah.
Of course, my wife didn't like that, Bonnie. You know, because she had to clean up after me. So, but it was just inevitable. So we got this cool place on Cedar Grove. Has a commercial kitchen, 300 square feet. So we started out doing like pop-up dinners in the kitchen and on the patio. That was our whole sort of business model. So anyways, we were looking for other places, and then we were looking at the leasing and the just what we'd have to do to the place.
Yeah.
We got really lucky. We got a place that had a full-blown commercial kitchen with a hood, all the stuff we didn't have to put out monetarily, you know. And then every year we've taken over another section of the place. We started out with 700 square feet. Now we have 2,300 or 2,400 square feet.
It's a huge jump.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So the bills went up extremely, a lot, extreme. Yeah. But that's why we do what we do and trying to create revenue there.
And that's a good thing to remind people of, is that you're probably going to lose some money in the process of growing, but you're still growing. And like you said, you're waiting for these other businesses to produce this revenue, and it's going to happen. You just have to be patient with it.
I mean, I've seen this a long time ago. You climb up a little bit, and then you can only go so far. So I could only go so far with in-home dining, right? I can only do so many events, and I know because I do so many events. Then you got to go down a little bit to put an investment in something else that's going to bring in money, and it goes up and down and up and down. So, you know, luckily because of in-home dining and you know, that sort of revenue supply has taken care of, you know, starting the other businesses, like I said, and that's, you know, I wouldn't be doing this if not.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of the fact that I took all my own money that I was making and put it into what I've got. I don't owe anybody anything for anything, which is really cool.
And that's a phenomenal feeling.
And it's really important, like sleep-wise, because if you got to wake up saying, I got to pay this loan.
Yeah.
I mean, we had somebody go, "Oh yeah, we'll give you 50 grand. We're going to put a second on your home." I'm like, "No, you're not.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out."
Yeah.
And we did. And I got to say, I got to give props to my bartender / carpenter contractor, Steve, who had the vision when he heard I took over the salon to put a concert room in there with me. So he's been my right-hand person, and he just works hard, and, you know, I can pay him when I can, and it's not like getting a big company, you know, where they have 10 trucks and they got to pay for them first before they pay their, you know.
Yeah.
So luckily there's that other support thing, you know, and Steve has been huge. I got to say, I wouldn't be where I am over there at the room at Cedar Grove without him, for sure.
Absolutely.
But it's so supportive. You know what's cool about that is that those people believe in what I do. You know, they believe that it's really cool and it's going somewhere. And we've already proved it's really cool. When you go to a concert at my place, it's like being in DC or New York City, you know. It's dark and swanky in there. It's got cool lighting, And then you see this band from New York City playing. You know,
Yeah.
there's nobody, I know for a fact, there's nobody doing that around here.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's a vibe. It's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
vibe.
It is. And not only people like going there for the vibe, but people like working there because of the vibe.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's, creating something like that is super cool. Yeah.
very awesome.
The tribe mentality.
It is. It is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think during this whole journey has been your superpower?
You know what? I think just my drive, period. I'm not the most talented guitar player. I'm not the most talented chef. I'm not the most talented wine guy. Do I have a little bit of talent in all those? For sure, naturally. But my talent is that I don't stop until I'm successful. So good example. I didn't start playing an instrument until I was 20 years old, like I said. And then with a lot of hard work, I was in bad company 10 years later, playing in front of 20,000 people every night. And it was because of the hard work.
Yeah.
You know, because you like quotes, luck happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes,
Right.
I like
You know,
that
so
one. I like
you've
that
got to
one.
be prepared. And I was like, when I got the chance to play with Bad Company, I was even over prepared. You know, I went to London and I auditioned for them. I knocked it out of the park. I played 2 songs and they said, you got the job. You know,
Wow.
because I was so prepared. You know, I didn't, and I was confident. You know, I was.
Did you know you were going to get it?
No, I didn't. But I had a good idea. But
Yeah.
I wasn't taking any chances.
Yeah.
You might only get one chance in life.
Wow.
You know, and I got it, and I took advantage of that, and I got another chance, and that was when I moved here, and 21 years ago in July, and I met my wife Bonnie on the last night of my vacation, and I moved back 10 days later.
No
And-
way.
yep,
That's
mhm,
awesome.
Yeah, and combination. I'm from Buffalo, so it was an easy choice, right? Where would you live, Buffalo or
stay here.
Lewis? Yeah,
And you got a beautiful woman.
yeah.
Anyway.
she's been my rock and supported me, and when I was doing mortgages, you guys appreciate this. I've done a lot of
wow,
things in my
really?
life.
That's
You
You sound like
surprising.
somebody I know.
I did a mortgage. I worked for 0 Point Mortgage. It was my best friend's company in Orlando.
Really?
But we got our license in Delaware, so I was doing a lot of mortgages in Delaware.
Were you
And
well, just like anything else? Were you good at it?
I was awesome because I'm detail oriented.
Yeah.
So I didn't let anything slide by, and I had underwriters on speed dial, and you know when there was a closing.
Yeah.
And I would either, if I could go to the closing, I would be there just
Oh,
to make
wow.
sure it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
You know, because I seen it fall apart too many times.
Oh wow.
So I did really well, and except I hated it. I just so my wife, you know, it was kind of when the housing crash was happening, and I started to not make money. She goes, "You really need to be back in music because that's what you do."
That's your passion.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's when I switched to guitar in 2007 and started writing my own songs. And now I have 5 solo CDs since then. Yeah. So that sort of downturn set me on the right path.
Yeah.
I became the wedding guitar player. Everybody loved me to play their ceremonies on the beach or their cocktail hour or both.
Yeah.
And I did really well with that. And then while I was doing that, I was working on music and released, you know, like I said, 5 CDs. And then in-home dining took off in 15. So then it all kind of parlayed from that point when I said, I'm going to be a musician again. And my wife said, well, I'm going to support you on however you want to do it.
That is very cool. Very cool.
What is the best and worst advice you have ever been given?
The best advice for sure was I was 20 years old and I was trying to play guitar, and I met this guy who was going to give me lessons. This amazing jazz player, Stacy Boyd, and he's still a great friend of mine. And he said, I went to a party one night, and his band was playing, and he said to me after, he goes, you know what, I've been thinking about this. I think you need to play bass guitar. I'm like, no. I'm playing guitar. I want to rock. And he goes, no, I think I got you on this one. I think, you know, and then he played a couple amazing bass players for me. One, Jaco Pastorius. It was maybe one of the best bass players ever. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the next day I went and bought a bass and started practicing. He helped me out, you know, to start with, practicing habits, practice with a metronome, you know, all these things. And 6 months later, I was playing country music, making $350 a week, you know, in 1980, which is really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's women everywhere, I was drinking. I was like, hey, I like this. This is super cool, you know. So that was definitely the best advice I ever got, because that took me to a whole nother level, you know.
Open your mind.
Yeah.
Just keep your mind open at all times.
And follow your passion. You know, I always loved music, but I was an athlete in high school, so I never had a chance to play an instrument. All my friends, I had friends that were in band and all that. I was playing basketball, soccer, and tennis. And it was 12 months a year, basically, because we did summer soccer, went into fall soccer. and then basketball, tennis. So for 3 or 4 years, I did that every year, and went to a lot of concerts. In fact, I saw Bad Company in '76 when I was 16, and I was still, playing basketball on the varsity level. And if my friend would have said, "Hey, dude, you're going to play in that band in 14 years,"
would have never.
I would have said, "Are you high?" Well, it was 1976. Wow. What do you think?
He probably was, yeah. So what, to sign us off here, what is the quote that you live by?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Well, I live by the luck happens one. That's by far my favorite.
Yeah.
Actually, the ones I've used today are all the ones I live by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
You said something too, and I had to write it down twice. I was not taking any chances, but what's ironic about that, you was not taking any chances with the opportunity you was given.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you did not take any chances with the chance you had.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I take chances all the time.
That's right.
Yeah, but not on
But
that
you prepared.
level. Right,
You're
exactly.
going all in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like tonight, I'm going to cook for people.
That's right.
We're all in.
All
We're
in.
not taking any chances that's going to be a disaster.
Exposed.
Yeah.
It's all me.
Yeah, exactly.
Transparency.
So
Can't hide.
no doubt about it. Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't taking any chances for the gig, but I took a lot to get to the gig, for sure.
So taking risks to get there. I think the thing, my takeaway, the biggest takeaway that I have from this is, for all entrepreneurs, is that you have to do that up and down, up and down. You have to,
Roller
even though
coaster.
you have that one passion and that one thing you're going for. You're going to get to the point where you understand that you're going to have to invest some of that into something else and branch out into different brands, different businesses to become successful.
Yeah.
Because you do a lot.
Yeah. And you just, I've done other things. I was actually in the wine business 10 years ago. I had my own California wine, but it didn't work out monetarily because I jumped all in instead of what I'm doing now. So I already have my all in is here, and then I have all these other things. I went for it because I had a connection that looked like it could go across the country. And I had really good wine from California. And, it didn't work out, but I learned a lot from that and not putting all those eggs in that basket, and not quitting your day job before you are successful enough monetarily.
Yes,
And there's a great example that my great friend Greg, David, and Theta, they own George's Bloody Mary Mix in Berlin, Maryland.
Oh,
If you ever want to have anybody cool on your show, check out Greg. Is just he sucks all the oxygen out of the room with his energy. He's just amazing. But he was working as a bartender at the Globe Theater in Berlin, Maryland. I met him there. I started my wine right around that time. I jumped off the income boat and jumped in and said, well, I'll make money on selling my wine. He stayed there until he knew he could make money on his Bloody Mary mix and pay himself. And that's a big difference. Yes. I jumped off, I learned, he stayed on and did a great job. Now they're on the East Coast everywhere. Giant, Harris Teeter, and it's awesome. We use them for our Bloody Mary mix for for our brunches. Wow. Yeah. But a great story on jumping in and staying the course, even though you don't want to.
That's right.
You want to get in there, but if you wait long enough, now I have that attitude now, but at that time I thought I had the means and it just didn't work out. I didn't have the support system that I have now, too. So.
Honestly, that's my base advice for any entrepreneur. And I get a lot of calls from them. Hey, can I pick your brain? That's the base. Are you working? Yep. Stay there.
Stay there until you can pay yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That was a huge.
Especially if you got a family. Especially if you got things to take care. Stay there.
Patience and perseverance.
Yeah, and don't put yourself in debt either.
Yes, absolutely.
I can tell you that for sure. Because that's not good either.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, this has
Man,
been
this has been a
amazing.
trip.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Yes.
I love it.
We look forward to attending your events. We look forward to collaborating.
Partnerships.
I'm right over here. I think it's less than a mile,
That's right,
actually.
yeah.
It's less than a mile.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Take care.